agreeing on the problems and determining that the buyer wants to solve the problem, preparing the proposal for a solution to the prospect's needs, then preparing the sales presentation based on the analysis and proposal, and making the sales presentation. So if I talk about the problem solution presentation method, these are the 6 steps which should be very well followed by every presenter. The first thing is, in this you need to identify the problem from which a customer may not be knowing. So you are supposed to convince the salesperson to so that he can let you do the sales the analysis so that you can identify the problem, because if the problem is not identified, you cannot give the solution for this. Making the actual analysis is another thing. You have to make actual analysis for that. Agreeing on the problems and determining that the buyer wants to solve the problem. Agreeing on the problems and determining that the buyer wants to solve the problem. That is also very important. You should be agree on that. Preparing the proposal for a solution to the prospect's needs. We should, after hearing and identifying the problem from the of the buyer, then we must prepare the proposal for solution as per the needs of the prospect. Preparing the sales presentation based on the analysis and proposal. Then we should prepare a sales presentation based on the analysis and proposal. And 6th step is making the sales presentation. That is the 6th step and very important step. After making the sales presentation, you can give a presentation to them. So now, student, we should also talk, like here we talked about why should we choose and how should it be done. Now, why choose the problem solution sales presentation method is also important. It gives us the some advantages due to which this method is important. So, because you are selling highly complex or technical product, that is one reason. If you are selling highly complex or technical product or highly customized product, we should choose this method of sales. Are required to make a several sales calls to develop a detailed, in-depth analysis of a prospect's needs. Need a flexible, customized presentation based on findings, and it should be done, always be done in business to business. So that is more important. So these are few things which you must keep in mind, and then only you should select the problem solution sales presentation method. After this, let's talk about what is the best presentation method. So, how will you judge which method is best? Memorized, formula, need satisfaction, problem solution. These are the few things which are very important in this. Each of these methods is the best one when properly matched with the situation. So friends, this is very clear. The important thing are these 4 methods are there, but how will you choose it? Which method is more useful for us? Every method is having their own advantages and disadvantages. So each of these method is the best one when properly matched with the situation, right? So don't think that this method is superior and this method is inferior, or formula 1 is not that important, then problem solution is more important. It's not like that. It depends on what kind of services you are providing, what is your product, and what kind of buyers are there. That is more important. So based on that, every method is best, and but it has to be matched with the situation. Now the group presentation. Either you or your team presents the proposal to a group of decision makers. The flexibility of the presentation depends on size. In group presentation, we give a presentation to the group, not to a single buyer. The larger the group, the more structured your presentation. You can structure the presentation and provide a question and answer period at the end or during the presentation. The group presentation count. Give a proper introduction. State your name, company, and proposal. So in group presentation, what you need to do, you should give a proper introduction. State your name, tell your company's name, and what for you are here. So that is the proposal. Establish credibility. Now while presentation, you should be able to establish the credibility among the people who are sitting in front of you. Give a brief history of your company. This is one way, one method by which you can create the credibility in front of the people. So telling them about the company, telling them how long you are working in this area, telling the group the mission and vision of your company, provide an account list, have copies of an account list available. So these are few things which a presenter should do, so that they will feel that you are not a new company, or you are not someone who will cheat the people. So there should be a credibility among the people. Provide an account list. Have copies of an account list available. State your competitive advantages. Tell the group where your company stands relative to the competition. That is very, very important. You should tell them where your company stands relative to the competition. So we should always focus on our competitor also. So while giving the presentation, it is very important that what is our position in the market, what is our market share, how much means how since how many years you are here in the market, and how many people you have catered, and all these things always develops the credibility among the buyers of your company. So next thing is give quality assurance and qualifications. But you can convince people about your product if you said that your company is providing the quality product, and the qualification is very important. You should tell them how much qualified you are, how you are able to produce the quality product. We must always share that what kind of production system you have, and what kind of people are working to produce or bring this service to you. And state guarantees in the beginning. We should state the guarantees, that we give the guarantee that it should not you should not be buying a product which is not of the quality and which will not help you in satisfying your needs. So cater to the group behavioral styles. Determining the overall dominant style in order to hold their attention, that is also important. Get people involved. The proposal document must be ready. Know prices for that. Summarize benefits. Negotiating so everyone wins. There are many negotiating styles. We must focus on the negotiation, and we should always offer the situation which is called the win-win situation to the buyer and the company. And if they feel that it worth buying it, then only it should be done. The experienced salesperson will negotiate in a way that achieves satisfaction for both parties. Negotiating so everyone wins count. Phases of negotiation. Planning, know how your company compares with the competition. Meeting, build a relationship that eases the negotiation process. Studying, look for benefit you can provide. Proposing what you do in the presentation sets the stage for what may come later. So, friends, this is very important, that how the negotiation should be presented so everybody wins. Everybody means the buyer and seller both wins. Phases of negotiation you have gone through now. There are 4 phases of negotiation. First, we must plan. So you should know how your company compares with the competition. In this planning, you should tell them how the company is comparing. You can compare with the competition. Why are you better than the competitors? Then meeting, build a relationship that ease the negotiation process. We should be able to build the negotiation relationship that eases the negotiation process. Studying, look for benefit you can provide, and proposing what you do in the presentation sets the stage for what may come later. That is also important. Now select the presentation method, then the approach. So students, first we must select the presentation method, then the approach must be focused. Know which method to use before developing the presentation, whether it should be a video conferencing or interactive. We should understand this. Plan the presentation and then select the approach oblique opening. That is the process we must follow in the presentation. So after this, let's talk about the sales presentation techniques. So what are the sales presentation technique? There can be a written sales presentation technique, telephonic sales presentation technique, and face-to-face. So there are 3 sales presentation techniques: written, telephonic, and face-to-face. What is, can you understand the difference? There is always a the difference in all these 3, because sometimes written is important. Again, I'll say it's not important which is best. Always face-to-face is very nice, but the cost is more for this face-to-face. So we should have a proper trade-off between all these 3 different techniques of sales presentation. Then planning effective demonstration. Custom fit the demonstration to the client. Choose the right setting. Check your sales tools. Have a backup plan. Cover one idea at a time. Appeal to all the senses. Tell them, show them, and involve them. Be creative. Rehearse the demonstration. Here we are talking about demonstration. Demonstration means when you are there and you are showing the product to the buyer or the customer. Custom fit the demonstration to the client. It should be a custom fit demonstration according to the needs and the understanding of the client. A right setting should be used. Whatever sales tool, best sales tool you have, we should all use all those sales tools so that we can basically convince people to buy the product. We should not use more of the ideas at a time. It should be one idea at a time so that there is no confusion in the mind of a buyer or a customer. Appeal to all the senses. It should look good. It should sound good. Means the demonstration should appeal to all the senses of the buyer. In demonstration, you should tell them what is this, show them how it is done, and involve them. Means if they have started involving using the product, that means your half the job is done. You have to be very much creative while giving the presentation, demonstration. Rehearse the demonstration, so means you have to practice it more and more time so that you can present better. Types of objection which can be need, money, risk, trust, inertia, time, features, and source. So, my dear friend, these are some common objections, types of objections which people may raise, right? So, sometimes they will say, I don't need it, I do not have that much requirement right now, I do not have money, so they'll say, I'll see it later, I'll buy it later. Oh, it's very risky, I don't trust it, inertia is a problem, time, then features. Sometimes they'll say, I don't like these features, and the source. So that is more important here. Now, there are some hidden objectives which you are supposed to determine. What is the objection? So you should allow them to talk. You should not argue with them. Try more times. Focus on the real reason they are objecting. Investigate properly so that you will understand what is the real reason, whether they do not have money or they do not need it, and you are supposed to mine out certain real objections from the side of the client. Take their temperature while making suggestions. Think outside the box. Give the customer a reprieve. Ask for help. These are few ways by which you can determine hidden objectives. Strategies for handling objections. Feel, felt, found, let a third party answer. Ask why. Indirect denial. Trial offer. See the objection as a question. Turn the objection into a reason for buying. Eliminate objections with questions. Agree with the client about something. Admitting to the objection. Let the client answer his own objections. Restate the objections in your own words before answering. So these are some strategies which might be used for handling objections. Again, it will depend on the understanding of the demonstrator and the presenter, that how should he handle all these objections. Now, closing is a very important thing. So, a trial close is not a normal closing technique, but a test to determine whether the person is ready to close. It looks like you really like this. Is that true? If you took it home, would you be proud to own this? Do you prefer the larger or smaller version? How would it look on the shelf back at home? How does this sound to you? Will that work for your situation? If I could do that for you, would you purchase the product? If I can fix that problem for you, would you be interested? Does this fit into your budget? How about I do this for you? So, closing techniques are the alternative choice close, also called the positive choice close, in which the salesperson presents the prospect with two choices, both of which end in a sale. Would you prefer that in red or blue? This is one way, like You ask the question in which he has to answer, which basically end up with a sale of a product. The apology clause, that is in which the salesperson apologizes for not yet closing the sale. I owe you an apology. Somewhere along the line, I must have left out important information, or in some way left you room for doubt. We both know this product suits you needs perfectly, and so the fault here must be with me. The assumptive clause, also known as the presumptive clause, in which the salesperson intentionally assumes that the prospect has already agreed to buy and wrap up the sale. Just pass me your credit card and I'll get the paperwork ready. The balance sheet clause, also called the Ben Franklin clause, in which the salesperson and the prospect build together a pros and cons list of whether to buy the product, with the salesperson trying to ensure the pros list to longer than the cons. The cradle to grave clause, in which the salesperson undercuts prospects' objections that it is too soon to buy by telling them there is never a convenient time in life to make major purchase and they must therefore do it anyway. The direct clause, in which the salesperson simply directly asks the prospect to buy. Salespeople are discouraged from using this technique unless they are very sure the prospect to ready to commit. The indirect clause, also known as the question clause, in which the salesperson moves to the close with an indirect or soft questions. How do you feel about these terms, or how does this agreement look to you? These are few ways by which you can close your presentation, or close your sale. The minor point clause, in which the salesperson deliberately gains agreement with the prospect on a minor point and uses it to assume that the sale is closed. Would the front door look better painted red? No. Okay, then we'll leave it the color it is. The negative assumption clause, in which the salesperson asks two final questions, repeating them until he or she achieves the sale. Do you have any more question for me? And do you see any reason why you wouldn't buy this product? This tactic is often used in job interviews. The possibility of loss clause, also known as the pressure clause, in which the salesperson point out the failing to close could result in missed opportunity, for example, because a product may sell out or its price. The puppy dog clause, in which the salesperson gives the product to the prospect on a trial basis to test before a sale is agreed upon. The sales contest clause, in which the salesperson offers the prospect a special incentive to close, disarming suspicion with a credible, selfish justification. How about if I throw in free shopping? If I make this sale, I'll win a trip to Spain. The sharp angel clause, in which the salesperson responds to a prospect question with a request to close. Can you get the system up and running within 2 weeks? If I guarantee it, do we have a deal? Thank you. Thank you, students, for patience listening.